When I started playing Warframe in September of 2022, the Ignis Wraith was one of the most prominent meta options for a new player looking to get into some more of the endgame content that the game had back then. And upon acquiring it for myself, I fell in love with the gun. This thing straight carried me through the Steel Path for a very long time. But does it even hold up in 2026? I mean, this thing used to be on all kinds of top 10 lists, and now you don't see anybody talk about it at all. And in my opinion, I still think this is a very effective weapon that if you have any interest in using, you should pick up. To acquire the Ignis Wraith, all you need to do is be in a clan. Go over to your clan's dojo and then go to the Tenno Lab, and the Ignis Wraith will be there for you to research. And you know, while we move into the simulacrum, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. If you only started playing Warframe recently, you wouldn't know that the Ignis Wraith was only available to certain clans who got some sort of milestone in an operation like 9 years ago. So the only way you could get the gun was if you were in a clan that scored highly in the operation. But actually making it only costed a few credits, and you could trade the blueprint with other players. This actually led to people trying to sell the blueprint to new players though, for like 50 plus platinum, when all it cost for them to get it was like 10 credits. I actually almost fell for this when I was a new player because I saw a video about the Ignis Wraith and then really wanted it, and someone tried to sell me that shit for 75 platinum, and I almost bought it, but I saw someone warning people not to buy it, so I ended up not doing that. Regardless, for how the weapon actually works, the Ignis Wraith is very simple. It is just a flamethrower. On the back end, this does work more like a continuous beam weapon, but for actual use against enemies, it works as you would expect a flamethrower to work. It just burns straight through all of them, and as you can see here, once I get my stacks up, the damage that the gun does is actually pretty good. We're melting these guys. I'll give you one more fresh demonstration. You stack up those statuses, and it burns them up pretty quickly. I am having some help from a companion here to prime for Galvanized Aptitude, which really helps the weapon out a lot. But the Ignis is still not a bad pick in 2026. And against a more accurate group of enemies, yeah, I mean, the ones with lower HP, they just get melted. And you can just run through crowds holding down your fire button continuously. I think it's a fun weapon to use. When it comes to the build, there are two ways to do it. You can either decide to use a faction mod if you want to absolutely maximize DPS, which really helps the weapon out, or you could go for a non-faction setup, the only difference being the inclusion of a 90% heat mod. Both of these setups does use primary crux. I think this is a really important arcane to use on the gun. The ammo efficiency doesn't really matter because it already has a good ammo economy, a low reload time, and a very high base magazine of 200. But the 300% status chance is really effective here at stacking up the heat DOT on enemies. As a beam weapon, you'll know that multi-shot is multiplicative to your status chance and your status damage. And with the total base damage on the weapon being pretty low, the way that you're going to kill most enemies is through a combination of stacking viral and heat, so getting a ton more status chance is going to really help here. Otherwise, the rest of this is relatively self-explanatory. The only thing that I need to clarify is Galvanized Aptitude. You shouldn't use this mod unless you are going to be using a companion that is going to status prime for you, because on the weapon, we only have 2 elements right now, and that would only give us 160% more damage on enemies, which is 5% lower than Serration's bonus. But if you do have a good status priming companion, like a Hound, then with this build, you can give yourself up to 600% more base damage on the weapon, with the opportunity to go even higher. Synergized Prospectus with Manifold Bond and then all of these elements on an Akaten, you literally don't run any DPS or status chance mods, you just run the elements, will allow it to trigger all of these on top of Electricity. Reinforced Bond for more fire rate, Tenacious Bond for more crit damage, Momentous Bond allows us to add even more elements to our companion weapon, increasing the priming from Prospectus, and everything else is just Warframe build related. I will run through the demo just one more time so you can see how it performs, and then also the gameplay that I show you is going to be just the weapon working by itself. But as a beam weapon, obviously, if I pair this up with characters like Saren or Gauss, the weapon becomes significantly stronger. Go Ignis Wraith. We're still using Heat and Viral. I haven't even adjusted the build at all. And when we use it against these enemies, well, I mean, Nautilus is helping, but yeah, clearly the weapon is still very competitive and kills quite easily. I actually wasn't planning on posting today because I'm working on a Mesa guide, but I randomly saw a video about the Wraith pop up into my YouTube feed, and I wanted to give the weapon another shot in the Big 26 to see how it performed. Thank you so much for watching, enjoy the gameplay, and I will see you all very soon for another one. Peace!